All right, good evening. Welcome to the Falls Township Board of Supervisors meeting on Wednesday, November 12th. We will begin with the salute to the flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Shepherd, can you poll the board or take the roll? I'm sorry.
Supervisor Boraski. Supervisor Palmer.
Here.
Supervisor Galloway. Supervisor Mullen.
Here.
And Supervisor Dents.
Here. All right, that item 1 is our executive session. You want to comment on that, Mr. Clark?
Yes, the board held an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss personnel matters and matters of litigation.
All right, thank you. Item 2 is public comment. There's no one here, so I assume there's no public comment. Item 3, we have a change order for QPI Electrical. Mr. Gates is here. If there's any questions for him. Anyone?
No questions.
I do have a comment I saw on their notes here. It says costs associated with wiring pumps into indoor units of the 6 split systems per RFI 342. This involves splicing and extending factory wiring as well as cutting factory wiring from the internal circuit board in indoor units. Existing units currently have broken, cracked covers, and QPI takes no responsibility for existing damaged units. So are they going to replace those covers?
The covers need to be replaced by the.
Okay, and we're not avoiding any warranties by them cutting these circuit boards and
No,
stuff?
this was prescribed by the manufacturer
Okay.
and the engineer.
All right, that was my only question. Thank you. No other questions?
No.
Professionals? All right, is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Mr. Shepherd, can you poll the board, please?
Supervisor Palmer.
Yes.
Supervisor Mullen.
Yes.
And Supervisor Dents.
Yes. That takes us to item number 4, approval for change order number 3 for Grace Construction. Any comments on this change order, Ms. Mullen,
No comment.
Mr. Palmer?
No comment.
Anything from our professionals?
No, nothing.
And there's no public here. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Mr. Shepherd, can you poll the board again?
Supervisor Palmer.
Yes.
Supervisor Mullen.
Yes.
And Supervisor Dents.
All right, we're going to go out of order real fast and go to number 6 now, which is an MYNB LLC conditional use application for 301 West Trenton Avenue. This is a bank up on West Trenton Avenue, right next to the Morrisville bowling alley that they're going to turn into a Dunkin' Donuts with a drive-through. Am I correct so far?
Yes.
All right, what are we doing here?
So we've been in touch with the applicant and they have requested extension to the board's December 16th meeting, which will be at 7 o'clock in the Middletown Township Building. And they've granted a time extension in order to do that. They will be appearing in front of the planning commission at the November meeting. Then they'll be in front of this board in December.
So what do you need us to do? Here,
It's going to be granting the continuance request to the December 16th meeting at 7 o'clock, the Middletown Township Building.
and that's what we're doing right now.
Correct. That would be
Okay.
the motion.
I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
That takes us to the item number 5, budget workshop, starring John Shepherd.
Thank you. Everybody knows where we are in the, in the budget process. We're getting towards the end of, we spent a few months putting everything together. The staff spent a lot of time on this. We appreciate the supervisors coming in, talking to the staff about some of the things that we had questions about. And, we're getting to the point where after tonight's meeting, in our meeting, in 2 weeks, we'll be ready to actually introduce the budget formally and hopefully with the board's approval, advertise the budget and, move forward with adoption prior to the end of the year. So we have a few pieces we want to talk about tonight. Some of them Betsy, our finance director, is going to put together for you. I'm going to mention a few items also, and then we're going to certainly answer any questions that the board might have. And for some reason, if we can't answer them, we'll get them prior to the final meeting we have for consideration by the board. So I'm going to turn it over to Betsy. She's going to talk a little bit about 2025 year-end projections. She did provide some of this information to you in a memo at the end of last week. She's going to recap the highlights of that, and then we're going to go from there. Betsy?
Sorry about that. Thank you. Okay, As Mr. Shepherd said, I want to review some 2025 year-end projections with you. Overall, our revenues are over what are expected. Our expenses are under what we budgeted across the board in all the funds. With that being said, as we move closer to the year end, we found that certain revenues have far exceeded our budget due to the ongoing construction by North Point down at the Keystone Trade Center. Particularly our building, electrical, and HVAC permits in total have exceeded budgeted figures by $5.4 million.
Exceeded.
Exceeded. So with that additional revenue coming into the general fund, that will allow us to transfer $5 million less from the host community fees than we had originally budgeted. By leaving those funds in the host community fees, we can do a couple of things. We can add $2 million back to our savings plan. The long-term savings was depleted somewhat through the construction of the new municipal center. So we could put some of the money back in there. We can add an additional $2 million to our already budgeted $2 million to go into the police pension plan. We have a very large unfunded liability in the police pension plan. So it would do the township a great service to reduce that as quickly as possible. That will, in the future, that will allow us to reduce our annual MMO to the police pension plan. And then we can allot an additional $1 million than originally planned to the Willow Drive road program for 2026. We had initially thought to do $1 million worth. Now we could do $2 million, which is about half of the work that was estimated to be done by Joe Jones. So it's important that we use the funding in host community fees for current capital projects, but also to address known long-term liabilities, because we need to have a structurally balanced budget. It can't just be budget balanced on paper, but structurally balanced. And that means setting aside funds for liabilities that we know are coming up in the future. So with that being said, if we reallocate the 2025 excess revenues and with the proposed 2026 budget, we'll make significant progress to ensuring future financial stability. That's the good news for the 2025 year-end projections. The budget timeline, which we've gone over before, we've reached the third and final workshop as we work towards finalizing this proposed budget. I truly appreciate the conversations with board members to determine project priorities and align our goals. We next meet in about 1.5 weeks for a presentation of the complete 2026 proposed budget. After that, it will be available for public inspection at our local libraries, and it will be posted on the township website as well. The board will be asked to consider adoption of the final budget at their meeting on December 16th, 2025. I'm going to turn it back over to John to review tax rates.
Perfect.
Special revenue fund.
Yeah, Betsy, thank you. I appreciate that. So Betsy prepared, everybody has her memo.
John, I don't know, is this a good time to just ask a question about what Betsy just talked about with the police pension fund?
Absolutely.
Before we start, sorry.
Yes, no, thank you.
Thank you. How much would it cost to fully fund the police pension fund?
It's underfunded by about 23 million.
Okay, so let me just, when you say that the long-term savings was depleted, it wasn't really like, how much is still in there?
Oh, it wasn't fully depleted.
Right.
There is still,
Betsy, you want to get the mic?
oh, sorry. Sorry. It was not fully depleted. There's still about 25 million left in that fund. We used about 15 million.
And I'm just curious, what would you say that's an equal, putting that $2 million back there, would you consider that equal in priority to funding the police pension fund?
Both items address our long-term needs.
Mhm.
One, to have those funds as a cushion for when the landfill closes. And the other to fund a known liability that we'll have coming up each year. I would say they are equally important.
Okay.
Also, we generate interest income, so that not only reduces some expenses, but will add income with the money going into the savings account.
Perfect. Thank you.
One thing to think about, excuse me, Jeff, one thing to think about too when it comes to the police pension fund, you're going to find a lot of towns aren't fully funded, right?
Right.
To do 100% is not maybe that common throughout the state, but we want to have a fund or a plan that's funded with an 8 or a 9 in front of it, rather like 80%, 85%, 90%, rather than I think we're maybe at 65. So that's not a place we want to be. We don't have to be fully funded, but if we can get to an 8 or a 9, we'd be looking a lot more healthy. And from an audit standpoint, they would say you're doing a good job. You know, as a
Would
town.
this extra 2 million get us there?
No, we need more than that. But I think when Betsy gave you the full unfunded, it sounds like doomsday, and we're not quite at doomsday, but we still need to work on it. I think this is going to take time, but if we make a concerted effort over the next 5 to 10 years, we should be able to knock that number down significantly. But we just have to be conscious about it, because it's easy to spend the money on something else, right? Because people don't see this.
Right.
It's hard for the taxpayers to see a return funding the police pension fund rather than paving some roads or making improvements in the parks. It's tough to do it, but it's the right decision.
We'll factor that into kind of our long-term like strategy plans.
Yes, I have continued with contributions to that plan in the 2026 budget. That's what.
saw that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I was just going to point out pretty much what Mr. Shepherd said, that it's never been funded completely, the
True.
police pension fund. All right, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. So talking a little bit about some of the special revenue funds, Betsy has broken out on your memo all the different funds where we collect various millages for various funds: general fund, street lighting, parks and recreation, rescue squad, things of that nature. She gives you a nice history because over the course of the last at least 4 to 5 years, and probably even longer than that, we haven't had any increases in any of those funds. We are recommending for 2026 an increase of $1 million in the Parks and Recreation Fund. We're primarily making that recommendation because, as you know, we talked about at our previous meetings, again, trying to get our budget more in order. We're trying to make sure all of our operating costs are coming out of operating funds rather than any sort of capital fund or the host fund, looking forward again to the future. So when we do that, to make that work in recreation, to make that work properly, a $1 million increase is recommended. We always try to figure out what does that mean for the average homeowner, right? $1 million is kind of doesn't make sense to people. We do a calculation. Betsy calculated that the average homeowner, it would probably be $2.50 a month. It's probably a little bit lower than that. She used a $30,000 average assessed valuation. It'd be more like in the mid-20s. So she's being very conservative with her number. So that's what the average homeowner is going to pay in additional taxes if we do the $1 million increase. So I did want to call that out. All the other funds are recommended to stay at the existing millages for 2026. So I don't know if there's any particular questions about any of the millages in the various funds.
No, thank you. What was it, 2 years ago, we did the fire fund? We increased?
It was actually,
Microphone, Betsy.
the 2023.
Oh, I'm sorry. My question was, it was 2023. She already answered the question that we did a $1 million increase for the fire companies.
It's a
$3 million.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you look across the board, all the other millages have stayed consistent, which is good. And some of them, like street lighting and fire hydrant, things we have to do, we're able to have enough revenue in those accounts, which is great. We're able to continue to fund those adequately, including the general fund, which is good too.
All right, thank you.
So capital budget highlights, Betsy mentioned one big one already, Willow Drive reconstruction, right? We talked about that. That's a Joe Jones project. He recommended that's around $4 million total because it's a reconstruction. It's a long road. We originally recommended breaking it into 4 pieces. I think by adding that additional funding, We could do it hopefully over 2 years, maybe in 2026 and 2027, which would be great. It'd probably be less, impactful on the residents to try to get it done over 2 years rather than 4 years. So that was a big one that we added. One that we added since the last budget meeting where we talked about capital projects, we did include in the budget for the Parks Department kind of an electric cart sort of unit that you could use on the trails, that go on the trails and collect trash or use it for special events. So that's in there. I wanted to make you aware of that
Oh,
because
good.
we really didn't talk about that before. So we included that. Brian has some recommendations for that. We haven't really picked anything yet. We can bring that back to the board, but he's looked at probably 2 or 3 different variations, both used and new, that we could consider.
It's
Going to be applying for, with the board's blessing, 100% grant funding through the state of Pennsylvania for that. We'll bring that back to the next meeting, the last meeting in November, for a resolution by the board. That has to be filed by the end of this month. So we're hopeful that we're able to get that project funded. If we don't get it funded, we'll have to consider how we're going to move forward with it. But hopefully we'll get it funded. The maximum grant that's allowed under the program is $1 million, and we'll be underneath that for construction. So we'll be hopeful on that. So that's another big project. And again, we're looking for grant money for that for 2026.
excellent.
Betsy, recap. You have a few outstanding items. I know we need to get clarification on tonight if possible, so we can finalize things.
Right. We just have a couple of outstanding items. Everything we've discussed so far is in the budget figures that you have in front of you. If all those amounts have been allotted as discussed. These are the last few items that are not in the numbers that are in front of you. The first one, we just got the quote today. So it's the Quaker Penn Park boat dock repairs. That will be added to the host community fees budget, $20,850 to repair the docks down at the boat launch. Another item that we talked about is the Penn's Grant Park renovations. And the only question that is not anywhere in the budget at this time, because I don't know the board's preference for the timing of that project. There's a couple of grants available, a small private one and a larger TCNR.
It is. And Betsy, we do have an updated budget sheet I think we have for the board tonight.
Yeah,
So we just
we
want to
do.
mention, we do have some updated numbers which have driven the cost of that project down. Brian's got some additional updates. So we probably should just mention that
Yes,
I
also.
think we have that.
You should.
Yeah.
yes, it's in your packet and the cost has come down, almost $100,000. So if that changes anyone's, opinion or directive on timing, that may be helpful. If you have any questions on that project, Brian is here tonight. The third item is the baseball field remaining repairs. We have a balance in the budgeted amount for 2025 of about 70,000 of what we budgeted, 77,000. Brian has gotten quotes to finish up any work that needs to be done there, and we can finish it under that amount. So we won't need to allot any new money in 2026, except for their regular annual contribution for the baseball team or clubs.
Right.
Some of the work, most of the work can be done in 2025, but we may have to push one item out to 2026. Because it will have to go out to bid, or you need 3 quotes for one of the fencing items, but that will all be out of this year's budgeted allotment. The fourth and final item is the code department IMR scanning project. It's the document scanning. They still have a lot of their paper documents that have not been scanned in at this time. They were given a quote. Originally, we had anticipated spending just over $85,000 in 2026. That amount is in the budget. The quote they received, however, was for over $270,000. So what we'd like to propose is to make it a multi-year project. Just spread it out over 3 years, doing approximately that 85,000 or 90,000 each year until the scanning is caught up.
That's important.
Yeah.
Because we already have the 85 in the budget
Mhm.
for 2026. And those are the last outstanding items that I have. And we're happy to address any questions you may have.
Mr. Palmer, any questions or? concerns?
Yeah, I think this for Mr. Shepherd. Last meeting, we were talking about Safety Town, and he had a grant revenue for 50,000. That pretty much covers that. Do you have a status report on that?
I haven't filed that yet. So if that's a private grant source, you could file it quarterly. So we could do that. We could file that. But if we were to go for the other state grant right through the DCNR, we wouldn't want to have those competing against one another. So depending on the direction of the board, if the thought is to move forward with it quicker, let's say build it in 2026, this project, I would recommend applying for the private grant source. We'll probably know January, February of next year whether we're going to get those funds or not. If it's through DCNR, we're not going to know until later next year, right? And if we don't know until later next year, we won't be building this project until 2027. So it's really, timing on that, how quickly the board wants to move forward with the project. I would say that if we go with the private grant source, that I have a pretty good feeling that I think what we're doing is a very good match for that grant. That's number one, which is important. If we don't do DCNR for this, I guarantee you we will have other projects in the parks that we were going to apply to the DCNR for probably 50 to 75% matching funds. We're going to have projects because that's what we do, right? We're going to have things that need renovated, new things that come online. And, Brian keeps a good track of those various grant programs that are available. In fact, he's attended the training. He knows what they're looking for. So it's really what the board wants to do. If you want to move quicker, I think we go with the idea that we're going to fund this and show an offset of $50,000 of grant funding with the assumption we're going to get it. And if we want to move slower and try to get more of the grant funding through the state, then we show it that way. It's really up to the board.
Brian, do you have an opinion on that?
I agree with Mr. Shepherd. Basically, it is a decision to make, and it's a timeline thing. So if you wanted to go DCNR, you'd have to realistically think 2027. Now, with the Safety Town components, we've reached out to the Bucks County Tech School. These could be things they could build. So we would have to let them know on a time frame.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's one avenue we're looking at. It's not a definite or anything, as opposed to buying them and getting them put in. But that would be something we would have to let them know on. Again, it's a timeline thing. Obviously, they have classes that go through every year, but they also have other projects. So that's just something to keep in mind. So.
And Brian, you think it makes sense to do all three parts, aspects of this at the same time?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think it makes the most sense. I think the biggest need up at Penn's Grant right now is to resurface the tennis courts if you want to go from a safety standpoint. The other two could technically wait, but I think we could do everything, be the way to do it. But, there's options there. You could wait and do the playground the next year, it's along with the Safety Town. Yeah, that could
Okay.
be done too.
Mr. Shepherd made a great point that, if we fund it and do it, we'd still get the DCNR grant and just use it for something else in the parks,
Yeah, there's other options.
Yeah.
There's other,
which I think that makes sense to me. I think I'd like to go that route.
And DCR, doing a workshop last week, they're looking for a lot of planning things, projects and trails and stuff like that. So there's other things, down the line. I think we need to upgrade our comprehensive plan at some point. I think that's gonna be a great avenue for a grant for that down the line.
Right.
And Mr. Shepherd and I talked about that today. These are some things down the line as well.
Right.
So is the board in agreement to move forward with it for 26?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do that, Betsy, and then we're going to I'll apply for the private grant. We'll get that rolling and get that in ASAP prior to the end of the quarter. It has to be in by the end of December. They run on a quarterly basis. Then we'll just hope that we're able to get money.
Great, thank you.
Is that it?
I think so. I mean, I think that was probably the biggest outstanding issue we had. Betsy mentioned a little bit about the ball fields. You know, we have the funding in place. We're not going to need all 77. When it's all said and done, maybe we need 40. We're going to do what we can this year just to get it done. Some coming out of next year. And unless there's a need in the future, which I'm sure the board will entertain, from Brian's perspective, we've addressed the issues that are out there that needed to be addressed with the funding from this year, and which is good. So we had, in fact, had a chance within the last few weeks to tour all the facilities. So he has a good handle of what's needed out there. So I think they're going to be in good shape. Hopefully, the organizations will be satisfied with the facilities.
Okay, thank you. Good meeting. This was a great budget this year. Thank you. Well, every year it is, but this was a nice process. Having Mr. Shepherd on board brings a lot too. Right.
I want to thank Betsy.
Yeah.
She's the backbone.
I am thanking Betsy. I
No,
know that's what I meant.
She has done a wonderful job.
Yeah.
She has these numbers in order, and that makes it
Right.
easy because the staff puts it together. She's organized. I mean, there probably isn't one question I ask her that she doesn't have the answer to. So that's much appreciated.
Really?
The best.
She's good.
We've gotten big compliments from like state auditors and stuff like
Right.
that on Betsy.
Yeah.
And
good.
just because Mike Clark is gonna jump out of his skin, I would like to thank Mike Clark.
What? Why? Everything.
Why not?
Mr. Clark, I noticed you
Why
got wearing a
not?
jacket tonight.
My jacket in the car.
And your tie as well?
And I did, because Ms. Rukoff told me we didn't have a budget.
We're broke. I'm gonna keep a spare tie for my office
Yeah, there you go.
and a jacket.
My cousin Vinny. Are you mocking me with that? All right. Any other comments from board members tonight? No. Mr. Shepherd, do you have any comments?
Nothing additional. Thank you for all your assistance.
I just have one we don't meet again before Thanksgiving, right?
Yes, we
We
do.
do.
Yes.
The
We do.
Tuesday.
Oh, that's what we,
The
Monday
Monday.
before.
oh, okay.
24th?
Not next Monday, but the following Monday.
I don't know if I'll be here. So if I'm not here, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say, happy Thanksgiving, but I can say, happy Veterans Day to all of our Falls residents who were honored yesterday on Veterans Day when we didn't have our meeting.
Thank you. All right. And then we'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.